again. Yeah, we switched it to a different like Wi-Fi channel. Well, you're here now. You're here now, so. Okay. All right, everyone at home, we'll start in just a second. We're just getting settled here. It's very rainy today, so thank you for coming down. I appreciate it. I know, Ron. And then I guess everyone else will just follow along at home. Okay. Oh, it's the music talking. I was like, who is talking to me? Okay, let me stop this for a minute. All right, so if you're at home with us today, I say this every class, I love using a block or books or pillow to sit on, especially if you have any trouble with your knees. This just kind of gives your hips a little bit more support. And you can be on your knees, cross-legged, and then we're gonna use the strap a little bit. Okay, great, you have yours out. Here, let me move this just a little bit. There, so you're not like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable if you're in the shot. Okay, if you don't have a strap, when a little bit better stretch. So this is beginner yoga. So we went over some poses, postures. We talked a little bit about the breath. And we did sun's value. So we're gonna warrior series. So warrior 1, warrior 2, and just kind of break down the correct alignment for those poses, and then we'll add it all together again. We might do a little bit of balancing too. Okay, so we're gonna start on our seats. We're gonna start seated. However, let's start on our seats. I don't think that's the word. So we talked a little bit last week about how yoga is so much more than just the physical practice and the postures. Carol, we were talking about this in the other class. Your poses are called asanas. So every yoga pose has the word asana attached onto it. But just talking about how much yoga is more of this mental practice, and it's really what's kind of going on in your head and allows you to just take a deep look and kind of center yourself. We don't take a lot of inward. And then I'm going to continue using this book. So these were the Yoga Sutras. We talked last week, this is kind of like the yoga Bible, if you will. but it basically just lays out all of the guidelines for how to be a yogi. So the second part, again, we talked about yoga being a way to calm the mind and be present. The second part of the sutras that I wanted to talk about today is the very first line, and it says, now we begin, the teachings of yogas are presented. It can also be translated as now we begin our practice. And I want to emphasize the word practice, because I think, especially for beginners, a lot of people come in and they get a little bit frustrated because it's a different way of moving your body. It's not, you're putting your body in positions that you aren't normally in, which is so good for you physically. But the part of yoga that's challenging is just accepting that, it's not the way your body normally moves. And this is a practice. It's an ongoing effort. You're not supposed to be an expert at it. I've been practicing 10 years, and, there are things that are very difficult for me still. This gives the example of a pianist. If you're a pianist, you don't start with Chopin. You start with chopsticks, right? So it just takes one note, one step at a time. And I just think that's really important as beginners coming into a yoga practice to keep in mind. It's an ongoing effort, and if you continue this daily, weekly, you'll learn and grow and be stronger and more mindful and know more about your body. And yeah, so stick with it, hang with me. We're going to add on today, and we're going to go and start our practice. So we're going to start with the breath. Last week we did the square or the even breathing. So 4 inhales, 4 exhales, or 4 counts for your exhale. We're going to do that again to start, and then I'm going to cue us into another breath, and I'll pause this when we start that. So go ahead and close the eyes. Sit up really tall. The rain is so nice right now. It's really soothing. And wherever you're at in your breath cycle, just go ahead and empty out the lungs. And take a big inhale through the nose as slowly as you can. You can't breathe in anymore. And then open mouth, exhale. Let that all go. Again, like that, inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. So you can do this in and out the nose and mouth, or you can seal the lips. Let's add our 4 counts. Inhale, we breathe for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue on your own. So if the 4 count doesn't work with your lung capacity, you can shorten it, you can make it longer. And then anytime your mind is distracted, we use the breath in yoga. We turn that breath back on so that we have something else to focus on. Take one more round of breath, inhaling here. And exhale. Good, and then we'll talk about our next breath exercise. This is called Ujjayi breath. It means victorious breath. It is the core of our yoga practice. So you'll hear this word thrown out a lot, but it's not often taught in your more advanced classes or on all levels class. So the Ujjayi breath is meant to build heat in the body. You breathe from this really deep place in your throat, and it creates this warmth from within. So with our breathing, we should already be warming up before we even move. So the way this breath works, in and out the nose, then you slightly constrict the back of the throat. So a good exercise for this. We'll take an inhale, and then you're gonna say H-A-ha out the mouth. Let's try that together. Inhale through the nose. H-A-ha out the mouth. So it's kind of like you're fogging up a mirror or a window. Do that again. Inhale through the nose. H-A-ha. Exhale. One more time. Inhale through the nose. H-A-ha. Exhale. But with the cold, you can even see our breath right now, which is really helpful. And then we turn this to our Ujjayi breath. You're going to breathe in the nose. And then as you say H-A-ha, you're going to seal the lips. And when you do this, make a ha sound. And you should feel kind of a little vibration in the back of your throat. It should be a little bit audible. So let's try that together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Good. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. And so once you have that practice down, you can keep the lips sealed. Thinking about that ha sound. Good, beautiful breath. You're in the room with me. And this is the thing I love so much about yoga is when you have a full class, a full group of people coming together for this practice, you create this breath, this sound together that kind of unifies you. So yoga is about community. It's about oneness, togetherness. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Let's flutter the eyelids open. Good job, guys. So you can practice that at any time. We'll do that again throughout our practice. Anytime I say Ujjayi breath, that's kind of what we're looking for. So we're going to move to the spinal rotations that we did last week. The spine, again, is connected to your entire body. So I like to start here with our warm up. So we're going to sit really tall and start to add that breath to our movement. Good. Yeah, we're going to stay seated. Okay. Sorry. I was like, where's she going? Sit really tall. We'll get there. All right, inhale. We breathe in through the nose, reach the arms up overhead. On your exhale, We're going to twist to the right. So opposite of me, you're in the room. Right hand behind you. Left hand can come to the right side. Stay here. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Look over that right shoulder. Inhale. Come back up through center. Exhale. Twist to the left. Left hand behind you. Right hand left thigh. Inhale. Lengthen the spine. Exhale. Look over that left shoulder. Inhale. Come back through the center. And we'll do 3 more times each side. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, come back through the center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale through center. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Last round. Inhale through the center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Or left. Inhale through center. Bring the palms to touch overhead. Draw those hands down to the center of your heart. Take a breath in here. Breath out. We're going to move to our side-to-side movement. So inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Then bring your right hand down by your side. And exhale to lean over to the right. So you can use the right hand for a little leverage if you need to. Hold for another breath in. Exhale, maybe lean a little deeper. Inhale, come back through the center. To the left, left hand down. Right arm reaches over to the side. Breath in. Hold, exhale. Inhale through center. Twice more each side. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale through center. And to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale, right. Inhale through center. X1. Last one. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Arms reach tall. Palms connect. Hands to heart center. Good. We'll do our last final movement in a moment with our cat-cows. But I want to get into the shoulders a little bit today, so we're going to grab our strap. So you take the strap long ways. You're going to bring it straight out in front of you, grabbing either side. So you probably want to bring the arms as wide as you can here. We'll start here in our neutral position. On the inhale, pull that strap tightly and lift the arms up overhead, stopping at the crown of your head. On your exhale, bring the strap in front of you and lower all the way down. Good. Inhale, lift that strap up to the crown of your head. Exhale, lower down in front of you. Just the shoulders moving here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. And see if you can keep the shoulders out of the ears. So now hunching. Inhale, lift up. Pause here at the top. And then exhale as far as you can go. Bring that strap behind you. Straight back. Good. All right. Inhale, bring that strap up overhead. We're going to bring it all the way out in front. Exhale. Inhale, lift to the crown of your head. Behind you for the exhale. All right, one more. Inhale to the crown of your head. Exhale, release in front. Inhale, lift up. Good. Exhale behind you. Good. Inhale, reach up. All right, let's release that strap. All right, so some shoulder openings for you. Really good if you're sitting all day. And we'll add on to that next week. All right, let's come to our tabletop now. However you want to get there. On your hands and knees. So again, this is our tabletop position if you're just joining us and weren't here last week. Gosh. Your palms are directly under your wrists, and then your knees are right under your hips, about hips width distance. So I like to say 2 fists. And then spread the fingertips wide here. We talked about the wrists last week. You want to press more so into the front of your palms, so where the fingertips and your joints connect. This will help you not put so much pressure on the wrist. So long spine, you want to create, again, that table. You should be able to balance on the spine here. And then on your inhale, we let the belly fall down and look up to the sky. This is cow pose. On your exhale, tuck the chin under, pull the belly in and round the spine as much as you can. Cat pose. I like to think scary Halloween cat here. Good. Inhale, let the belly fall. We gaze up. Exhale, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. So press away from the earth with the palms as you do this to get into those shoulders. Inhale, belly falls. We look up. Exhale, tuck the chin, rounding the spine. Inhale, belly falls, look up. Exhale, round in the spine. Last one. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. All right, let's come back to a neutral. Curl your long left, and inhale, low left leg this, and keep the foot flexed. So toes point down. On your exhale, bend the knee and draw the knee in towards the center of your body and round the spine as much as you can here. Inhale, straighten that leg straight back out. Flexed. Do that again. Exhale, round the spine, pull the knee into the. Really think about what your core is doing here. Inhale, lengthen back out. Should be like a crunch. Exhale, pull it in. Same thing here, you're just not kind of straining your neck and back. Inhale, lengthen. 2 more. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Exhale, lengthen back out. Last one, hug it in. Exhale. Inhale to lengthen. Good. Connect the left toes back to the mat and come back to your tabletop. So knees meet. But if you want, we can stretch the wrists a little here. Come onto the tops of your and you either one. Yeah, perfect. And I like to rock a little bit back and forth. Just don't do it too hard. Good. All right, and then let's come onto our palms. We'll stretch there, and we'll do the other side. So right leg comes long, connect the right toes to the back of the mat. Right leg is only gonna move here. Everything else stays in alignment. Inhale, float that right leg up, and it should be right in line with the rest of your body. Okay, I'm frozen. I was trying to look. Point the toes down, flexing the foot. Exhale, hug that knee into the chest, round the spine as you do this. Inhale, right leg comes long. So real quick, isn't coming up to the sky. It doesn't come past where your hips are. Inhale, exhale, hug it into the chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hug it in, round the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round, pull it in. Use the core. Inhale, lengthen back out. We'll do one more. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, lengthen. Drop that right toe down and then the right knee back to your tabletop. Let's step back on our heels for just a second. We'll bring the wrist to clasp and then just take some circles with the wrist here. One direction. And then when you're ready, do the other. Cool. Okay. All right. You ready to move on? I'm going to go quickly over what we did last week. So our first pose last week, or second pose, that was our first pose, was downward facing dog. So we're going to come back through our tabletop is the easiest way to get into this. You'll tuck your toes under, lift the knees, lift the hips, and send the hips to the sky. Now for this pose, I like to keep my knees bent so that my hips come all the way up and you're creating this triangle shape with the body here. Spread the fingertips wide. Press down through the tops of the palms, just like in your cat-cow. And gaze between the feet. So feet are hips width distance apart. Good, not together and not really wide. Stay here. My shirt's making a lot of noise, so I'm going to take it off. Okay. Again, bending the knees if you need to. And then we're going to add on to this. We're going to take a bend in the knees and sink the hips all the way back to the heels. So we did this last week. Keep the hands where they are, and then just bend the knees as much as possible. Good. And then inhale, straighten the legs back out. Let's do that 2 more times. And it'll help us move through our sun salutations. Inhale, back. Look forward between your hands, and then walk the feet to the top of the mat. It's when you bend your knees like that, it kind of helps you like launch. It's like launching a rocket forward. All right. From here, we're gonna rise all the way up, and then sweep the arms to the sky. Bring the palms to touch overhead. Exhale, bring the hands through heart center, and then bring the palms down by your side. So Tadasana, or mountain pose. Palms are spread wide, so we keep this active even though you're just standing. Feet hips width distance apart. And I want to be a little soft in the knees. So we tend, I think, a lot when we stand to lock out the knees. You'll see a lot people stick their backside out and arch the spine. Just want to pull everything through the center. Really great to do this in the mirror if you guys have at home. You can even stand against a wall. It's really good practice for your posture, and you should feel the wall from the crown of your head to your heels. Good. And then start to engage the core, so we'll keep the belly pulled in here. And this is our core pose. Good. So our sun salutations. We inhale, reach the arms to the sky, palms touch overhead. And then here you're gonna hinge at the hips and dive all the way forward. So just that hip joint moves. Inhale, lift up halfway, bring the palms to your shins, and create a long spine. Beautiful. So this should look like your tabletop back here. Good. Exhale, fold back down, bend the knees if you need to. And we'll inhale, rise all the way back up. You can circle sweep the arms or just bring them out in front of you. Palms touch, hands to heart center, exhale. Twice more there. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky, palms touch. Exhale, dive all the way forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, palms come to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Sweep it to the sky. Exhale, hands come to prayer, heart center. Last one, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Good. So this time, stay here. Plant the hands. And then we're going to step back to our high plank. So step the left foot back. And then step the right foot back. We did this last week. And then we're going to come to our knees, but keep the spine long. Good. So it's just a supported plank on your knees. And then on your exhale, lower all the way to the belly. Good. All right, untuck the toes. And we leave the legs down. Inhale, lift the chest up just slightly. So baby cobra is what this is called. Good, hold here. You're using that lower back to do all the work here. The weight is out of the hands as much as possible. Let's let that go. Exhale, forehead or cheek to the mat. One more just like that. Inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, lower back down. Good. All right, from here, we'll tuck the toes under. And then we're going to press ourselves back up to our tabletop to transition to downward dog. Lift the hips high. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to add that all together. From downward dog, take an inhale. Exhale, take that big bend in your knees, gaze forward, and then walk to meet your hands. Inhale, lift up just halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Palms touch. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale, dive all the way forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, palms to shin. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back 1 foot at a time, plank pose. Drop the knees. We'll lower all the way to the belly. And try to keep the elbows in. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, come through your tabletop on your inhale. Downward dog on your exhale. All right. Whew. All right, from here, we're gonna bend the knees, look forward. Gaze between the hands, walk to meet the feet, or feet to meet the hands. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. And let's rise all the way to the top. Sweep it up. Hands come to heart center. And then move back to our mountain pose, palms down by the side. Good. All right, guys. Sun salutation. Should be a little warm now. Oh, no. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay. So, we're going to move into our warrior series. I actually wanted to tell you guys the story about what these poses mean. But I think I'm going to wait until we add them all together. So maybe next week, but it's kind of cool. If you like, I like to geek out on history and culture and the background of why we do everything and all that stuff. So I'll share that next week. But you have 3 kind of core poses, and they're really easy. Warrior 1, Warrior 2, and Warrior 3. And when I tell the story, it'll make a little bit more sense about why they look the way they do. So for Warrior 1 is the first one I want to go over. This one's a little bit tricky. And now I'm cold again. So don't be frustrated is all I want to say about this pose. And I wish I could see you all. I think we're working on that. But it really kind of helps me guide your hips. So the first pose, Warrior 1, is an internal hip rotation. So that just means your hips are both kind of in the same plane. So you have internal, and then you have the external where you turn out. So Warrior 1, best way to do this. Let's step the right foot forward. And the left leg will be behind you. And that left foot, so pretend like you're coming into a lunge, except your left foot, the heel is going to be on the ground, and it's going to point at a 45-degree angle towards the top left corner of your mat. And you want the weight to be in the pinky edge of your foot. So that way you're rooted through this back foot, and you're going to root through the right foot. So keeping that weight in that back edge of your foot, start to bend the right knee a little bit. Okay. So what tends to happen here, and I'm going to turn this way, is we take the so that it's really awkward. It's going to feel weird until you, I like to put my hips or my hands on my hip crease and kind of just turn them forward. So everything should be facing this top of your mat. Now what I see a lot, and you know what you're doing, you look great. I see a lot, people want to keep their feet on the same plane. one that's really hard to balance. Like you're gonna fall over. This is really difficult for me. It's also hard to square your hips off. You can bring your feet as far apart as you need to for this pose. I don't care. What I care about is that the hips are facing forward. So when we bring the feet further apart, you're able to create more space in the hips. All right, how are we doing? Does that feel good? And then when we anyway, but the pose is to be working this back leg, front leg, and the back leg at the same time. Okay, so you feel this like opposition. So this is the feet. And then you're just gonna reach. So when we reach the arms to the sky, kind of the same thing in our mountain pose when we're standing. We don't wanna like arch back and do this like, I call it the gymnastics lunge, you know, at the end where they're like, it's like, yeah, like you just want this tall, straight spine, and you still want to keep the belly pulled in and the core engaged. So if you notice your belly's kind of popping out and you're arching your back, just kind of zip it all back in. Best way I can explain it. And arms to the sky. All right, so this is our warrior one. Let's switch legs and just see how it feels on the other side. So I say this a lot in yoga too, is that our bodies are not symmetrical. Which is both fun and annoying. So left leg forward, right leg back. Ground down through this back edge of your right foot first. Heel down, 45-degree angle. And then bend into this left knee. Pull this right hip forward. This side's a little tighter for me, so I do bring my stance wider usually on this side. So that's okay. It's not going to be the same. And then we bring the arms to the sky. Warrior one. Good. So let me talk about the hands real quick. It doesn't really matter really what you do with your hands, but if your fingertips are spread wide, so I've already said this a lot, I think, today. When your fingertips are spread wide, it just forces you to engage your entire arm. It helps you keep the upper body active. So the whole body works here, not just the legs, and you're not just kind of like sleepy arms. Always keeping these arms active and thinking about the posture all the way from my fingertips down to the toes. All right, that's warrior one. Thanks for mentioning that, because I've noticed you do that. Yeah, it's like spirit fingers. Forgot to drink that. It's just been getting cold. Okay, that's warrior one. Now I want to add on warrior two, and then we're going to put it all together. Okay, so warrior two. So that was the internal hip rotation. Now we're going to open up the hips. So the cool thing about yoga is it's built on opposing postures. So you're always closing and opening, contracting, which is really good for your joints and opening up different parts of your body. It's a little different than statically holding stretches. So let's do the right leg first again. I'm gonna be behind you. So same thing, we're gonna plant that right foot in front of us. The left foot should be parallel to the back of your mat. Now this one, there is a little bit of alignment with the feet. So I usually say the front heel should be in line with the arch of your back foot. That's just how you're gonna get the best balance. I mean, here it's not necessarily wrong. Everything is just more like in this straight line this way. So our hips are open, and then you're gonna bend the right knee. This back leg stays straight, and same thing, you want the weight to be on this back edge of your back foot here, and then rooted down through your front heel. So different things that I see is like leaning too far forward here. So the knee should be right over the heel. Yeah, I mean, good. Rather than really leaning forward. Why? Because that is really gonna hurt your knee after a while. So bring it back. Again, with the knee, if you can't bend the knee to get it over the ankle, I would rather you have the knee behind your ankle than in front of it. If you need to straighten it a little bit, that's fine. The goal of this pose in the fullest, I don't like to say that. I guess it's the goal of this pose is to eventually get this thigh parallel, and it's a really wide spread. So again, this is a practice. You build up to this where this thigh is parallel. But if you need to keep it really short for now, that's totally fine. And maybe you notice that you can go deeper and further apart, you know, as you get more stretchy. Okay, so let's talk about the arms. If you need to take a break in the legs, that's fine. Oh, sorry, one more thing with the legs. Yours looks great. For everyone at home, and maybe I'll face this way to do this. The knee should be in line in front of your toes, right through the center of your foot. When we get tired, I see this. So the knee leans towards the center, towards the left, or it'll lean out to the right. Again, this is just putting a lot of pressure on your knee. So as you're in this pose over time, or any pose really, you just want that knee through the center of your foot. Arms, again, standing up tall, no booties out. You're gonna bring your arms straight out in line with your shoulders. Again, I like to spread my fingertips wide because it helps me keep my arms active and maybe like squeezing the bicep and tricep muscles a little bit. So again, when we get tired, it's usually this back arm will get floppy. It would be like that. And then full concentration, gazing right between that round finger. So this is called, your gaze is called your drishti. A keeps us focused on what's happening in the much or little as you want. Just don't go over the ankle. Hips facing the side of your mat, booty in, arms out by the side. Good. It's kind of like you're surfing. I tried that once. I was really bad at it. Yoga doesn't help surfing, by the way. Okay, one more breath here. All right, release this pose. Let's step out of it. Take a wiggle and a shake. Okay. I just want to show you the transition first, and then we'll do it all together. So, from downward dog, do I want to do it this way? Let's see. Yeah. So from downward dog, you're going to lift the right leg to the sky, bend the knee, and step the right foot between your hands. And then you're going to rise up to that warrior one that we just did. And then we're going to open up to our warrior two. Okay. And then we're going to come back to our warrior one. And we're going to plant the hands down. And we're going to step back to our plank pose. We're going to drop the knees, lower to our belly. We're going to lift the chest for our baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Come back to our tabletop. So we've done all these before. And then tuck the toes, downward dog. Got it? Okay. Yeah, you definitely got it. You got it. Okay. However you want to get there, let's come down and find our downward facing dog. I guess we could have done a sun salutation. Okay, from downward dog, just take a breath to set this up. So take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale out the nose. Find that Ujjayi breath. On your inhale, bend the right leg up to the sky. Bend the knee first. It'll help you step through a little bit. And then step that right foot between the hands. Good. It doesn't have to look pretty. Inhale, rise up. Adjust your back foot 45 degrees. Reach the arms to the sky. And let's just check in with our pose. So are your hips squared? Meaning left hip is a little forward, the right hip falls back. Bend in the right knee. Good. Take a breath in. Exhale, warrior two. Bend the back heel down. Back foot parallel to the back of the mat. And reset. Beautiful. Take a breath in. Breath out. All right, we'll sweep the left arm forward and step back into our warrior one. You may need to step a little forward, yeah. Good. And then exhale, bring the palms down. Frame that right foot, and we'll step back to where we were in our plank pose. Drop the knees. Good, lower all the way to the belly. Inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tabletop to transition. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, downward dog. Left side, left leg comes to the sky. Bend the knee to help you step through. And then rise up. Good. So warrior one, take a breath in, stay, exhale. and then warrior two. You can pick up this back foot and literally move it. It doesn't have to be this seamless transition right now. So breath in to stay. Exhale. Inhale, sweep the right arm forward. And then step it in back to our warrior one. So noticing what's happening with the hips. Opening, closing, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands down. Inhale, step back to your plank. Exhale, drop the knees and lower all the way to the belly. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lower. Inhale, tabletop. All right, tuck the toes under. Downward dog, lift the hips back high. Good. All right, we have time for one more. And I'm just gonna do one breath per movement. Inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, step the right foot between the hands. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, come back to warrior one. Exhale, plant the hands down. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, drop the knees. Lower down to the belly. Inhale, lift the chest, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, tabletop, press it back. Tuck the toes, downward dog, hips come high. Inhale, left leg comes to the sky. Bend the knee, exhale, step the left foot between your hands. Back heel spins down. Rise up, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, warrior one, face back forward. Exhale, plant the hands down to the mat. Inhale, plank pose, step back. Exhale, drop the knees, lower to the belly. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhale, tabletop, press back. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Good. Breath in. Breath out. All right. Let's go ahead and come back to knees. We're going to sit back on our heels. All right. That's about it for today. We're going to roll onto our seats. You can wrap the legs around in front of you. Let's just take a little stretch here. You can bring the legs out in front of you. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold over those legs. You can keep the knees bent if you'd like. One more breath, inhale. Exhale. Okay, inhale, lift the chest back up. And then we're gonna roll onto our backs for our Shavasana. Give us something a little more relaxing here. All right, so let the body be heavy. Maybe shut the eyes down. So our Shavasana pose. I'm just remembering that this pose is so important, just to let your practice sink in. To find one moment of stillness before you start your day. And then you can stay in your Shavasana as long as you need to, or return to this pose at any time. If you're ready to move, you start to deepen the breath, wiggle the fingers, the toes, calling life back into the body. And then hug the knees into the chest one at a time. Give yourself a tight squeeze. And then either press up, rolling to your side, or rock up. Come back to seated here. Shut the eyes back down, sit up tall. We'll close with one more breath together. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hands come to the heart. And then we bow forward with gratitude for our practice. Namaste. All right. Thank you, guys. See you next week.